their obligation. Or longer than that, longer than that.
Well, utilities, just a middleman here, they just folks that did the work and put out all the fence and, you know.
And they're the ones sitting there
They've got
waiting
nothing
to
to
be
do
paid.
with the release or nothing to do with nothing.
We're gonna proceed with paying down the utilities.
Would.
And
Yeah, I'm okay with that, considering that, like Bill said, they're the middleman.
okay. I will ask for a motion though to request a clean release from their attorney. I'll ask for a motion that will be in our minutes. Next, Mr. Jenkins with Pt2-3. Good to see you, Mr. Jenkins.
Yes, sir. Thanks, sir. Appreciate the opportunity. I went ahead and took the liberty, I brought you, I don't know where that other one went, but
That's fine, we need one to not leave the building. Yeah, just let the clerk have it. Anytime somebody, we get something like that, it's public record, and if somebody had to come in and said, I want to see that map, and we don't have that map, you know, it doesn't look just good. That's all we need is that map.
I apologize.
That's fine, that's fine.
That's the same one.
Okay.
Now, we modified it essentially.
Right, I mean, what is this one?
Actually, modified it even more since then. There's been some discussions about parking out front. This is basically what
So this is one that you had some input and it's been done.
there's been some discussion, as far as formal, do this, do that. I'm sorry, I didn't email y'all PDFs, but, what one of the discussions was, could we add angle parking below the retaining wall? Dan said, I recommend, which would be below the portico. So just briefly, I took a mirror, some angle parking in here, and put a 16-foot aisle, which is basically what you would have on this 45-degree carpet. That pushes it out onto this slope. So I went ahead and threw the other angle in, just in case somebody said, well, can we get another row one? That's gonna push us way downhill. That's just another concept to take a look at. The one row of angle parking below the retaining wall could be brought up, and this was mentioned by Mr. Massey, potentially raising the elevation and not having a retaining wall below the portico. We'll go ahead and bring it on up to an elevation of basically your finished floor, which is about a foot or so down now, which will give us a concrete build-up for the portico. Or, that's been another question. Yes. And finally, there was talking about porticos. There was mention of trying to create parking in the front with a cantilevered awning, is the way I interpreted it. So I went ahead and put 2 aisles in with angle parking on both sides, just to see what Yeah, the termination point here, close to the same is what you would have actually not. It is, if you know, that can't be done without, this angle parcel here, that's just me mirroring that late last night, try to get something snapped on so you can see visually what would happen if you did add parking below the same one. So ignore those parts because that would require a significant amount of fill or a big retaining wall here, which would slide down further with a lot of expense now. But that just gives you a concept of what's going to happen. This is more along the lines of termination point. If he has two aisles coming through both angles, parking, and a free, cantilever on out front as opposed to the columns and exposed truss type. Awning. I don't know if I printed it next year. I know I'm throwing a lot of stuff out, but it's just talking points, consideration points, and I'm sure someone will have some other idea. I'll be glad to go back to the drawing board and either get around to myself one to get another layout for you guys and try to get these to a point where everybody's happy with them and we can move forward solid. The big question in my mind is Portico and exactly how you want to handle that part. And I did do some research. We do need to add a few parks over here. All right, we got 55 parks if we do it this. On one of the other ones, I added the number of parks. We have 39 spaces in this one. Now, going below the retaining wall, like this, putting angle, and then you basically have 10, 20, 30, 45, 54. So you have 54. Now, according to the current ADA guide, when you bump above 51 parking spaces, the required number of accessible parking, ADA parking spaces, 3 was one van, minimum van accessible. That's your minimum. So 3 was one van accessible. So that means that we would need one more park out front, which, you know, would most likely be used. So we could also add more if you feel like that's needed. The grades out front are very tight as far as getting elevations, but the portico will be raised up. The reason why I say the portico is a big question, that's going to be a high dollar item in relation to everything else. I know you're trying to achieve parking, which is a very important, critical aspect of the job. So, you know, when it comes to porticos, the schematic drawing that was done by the architect rendering to begin with, it was a rough home type wood with wooden exposed beams. Can't say for certain what type roofing system it had, but those type structures, based on the International Building Code, which is what you have to follow now, since Alabama's adopted it, and the uplift associated with that would require significant footing. The drawback to moving to a lightweight skin structure or steel structure, the lighter it is, the more beefed up your footing has to be. So it's kind of a cost trade-off between the two. Some of the footings that I'm seeing now, based on International Building Code, are significantly larger what we used to do. So the heavier the structure, the smaller the footing, the lighter the structure, the bigger the footing. And that all has to do with wind load, picking it up and, you know, taking it away. So with it being an open freestanding style canopy or portico is what we've been directed towards, so to speak, you're gonna have a significant issue with the fact that, first of all, we don't know exactly what type of portico we're looking at. Are we looking at a all steel structure, which would just increase the metal effect and not break up in contrast and soften the facility? You can do this is not typically done, but you can do a steel structure with a modified skin that has wood on it. I need to do some more research into exactly what the lifespan of that is, because if you get too thin on the wood, it'll warp on you, and where you flush up together, you'll have that bevel joint or angle joint. And we definitely don't want, after a few weathered events, for it to buck and bow and create issues.
I think what we originally discussed was the metal, but have brick columns, whatever, for it.
That's a craftsman style, not the brick. A rock style, column up, 4 or 5 foot high. But then again, a craftsman style, typically you come out of that with a wooden post. So I just need I need to know what really you guys want as
I
far as.
like the stone look on the columns.
And then in addition to that, the grades, of course, this is a very tough site, guys. I mean, I'll admit it. It's been driving my junior engineer batty, trying to figure out exactly how to make the grades work and keep it within a reasonable design code so that people in cars, when they come in, don't scrape. We have an issue with fire trucks. That's an emergency vehicle, so they have to get out quick. The way that it's going right now, when they come out and they're loaded, they're going to a job, they're moving. When they hit the bottom of the hill at the grade that it's currently graded on, that asphalt is shut. So their wheels are pushing the asphalt, and that's a problem. A solution to that problem would be like what we're doing on the bridge deck this Friday, pour it in concrete and groove it, and make it so that the water will drain off of it through the grooves. The concrete's not going to go anywhere, and have a rough texture. That way you know that it's not going to, during the heat of the summer and 115-degree weather, even if you put an inch and a half like normal people, some people like 8. The American Pavement Association, Asphalt Pavement Association recommends a 2-inch minimum wearing layer. DOT, they go with an inch and a half. A lot of municipalities go with an inch and a half because you'll end up milling it up and recycling it. But with the Asphalt Pavement Association recommending 2 inches, if we do go with asphalt pavement down there, I would definitely recommend a minimum of 2 and a very, very thick tack coat to try to hold it in place. But that, there again, with those heavy trucks and that water sloshing and, them barreling out and hitting the brakes when they get to the stop sign at the bottom of the hill, it just bothers me with asphalt being down there in that stop zone. If it starts shoving again within 5 years, we fail. I fail. That's the way I feel.
How much more expensive would it be to do it with the grooves and also that they can rub the surface on?
It's not really that bad. Concrete will be more expensive. To rattle off an exact number, I can't. But grooving of concrete is basically just saw or cut forth the thickness and angle in it so that those grooves will drain. And then creating a rough, a little bit more than a broom type finish on it. So that wouldn't be as labor intensive or it'd be pretty close to being labor intensive, it's being a smooth finish like what you would have in a building where it's just smooth, you know, for a floor. The advantage to the concrete is it'll be a permanent fix. You know, you put a good layer of concrete down there and you groove it good enough, it's not gonna go anywhere. The asphalt, and we can research into what shear strength is and all that stuff, but I did graduate studies at Auburn University in their National Research Laboratory doing a strategic highway research program with asphalt when they first got it. And asphalt shear strength is decreasing over time due to, number one, the temperature rises, and number two, the quality of the asphalt cement that we're getting now. So, and coupled with that, most all asphalt plants, as a matter of fact, all asphalt plants are producing an open graded mix. What that means is you have less asphalt cement or glue to hold the aggregate together, rock. So that is a great advantage on roads. It helps water get into that asphalt and run out laterally through the slope of the crown of the road. But when you get into a situation like this, and you get into a situation where I ran into on a trail, and you want a smooth type finish, or you want high AC content, that's a special order mix. And for them to run that batch for a very small job like this, it's going to be outrageous. What do you say?
We run into it, a job we're bidding right now, City of Birmingham, if you put more parking spaces than they require for a building, it's got to be the open grade stuff. They want the water to get into it and help be like a retention pond and add to the retention. We're looking at a job that wants 3 parking spaces to be open grade, and Apex just pretty much refused to do it. You get off of the main channel and stuff, what they're running, and you don't want quantities. All asphalt plants now are set up to run big quantities. Used to be little batch plants, you could buy 2 tons and get what you wanted, but you can't do that anymore. Yeah, you have to stay with something that's mainline pretty much to do it.
So your shear strength on the new asphalt mix is not as high as the old 416 mixes, where it had a higher AC content in relation to the number of aggregate size particles in the mix. So in those mixes, the strength to resist shoving, now you can increase AC content too high, so there is a fine line in there, but a 416 or a 421 mix that they used to run was a great mix for this type of application down here. But we don't have that at our disposal.
Do you think the concrete would be a better fit for us?
I definitely would recommend concrete.
It wouldn't cost a whole lot more.
And you're only talking,
You're getting the money back at the time because you're not sealing it, you're not replacing it in however many years, and so you're getting some return on your money.
and it's going from a fire bay down, not the whole place.
But it wouldn't be a smooth concrete, would it? I mean,
No.
smooth, because, you know, when, for example, when you get your little ice storms around here, you're gonna have a hell of a time getting up and down on smooth concrete.
Before
It's
you
gonna
come
have
in,
something that you got a little grab to it?
Yeah, they're gonna have grooves sawed into it.
Oh, cool, okay.
So we're talking right from the fire back to the end of the road.
Well, the main area that I was looking at is the stop zone.
Bottom half or something.
Right. That's where most of your shoving is occurring. You know, they leave out, and when they leave out, they start off down the hill, and somewhere about midpoint, they hit their brakes. And, you know, they may pump their brakes a couple of times, and that's causing the shoving, the humps in the
Same
asphalt.
way with the garbage truck and all that when they come in.
Yes, sir.
But if we just do the stop zone, then from the street up to the stop zone is gonna be concrete. The rest of that road is gonna be asphalt.
Good.
So we're gonna have a different in texture, we're gonna have different color.
And that's acceptable.
Yeah,
You're around it all the time, you just don't realize it.
The asphalt will match up with the parking drive that comes up into the parking areas in front of the building. So, and it also will marry up with the asphalt going on up into the park up the top. So So there is additional cost in that, in concrete. I'll tell you that up front. So the more concrete you use, it's gonna cost you more than asphalt.
But longevity wise, it's gonna come out in the long run.
It will come out generally in the long run.
What I'm thinking is, they've already got a concrete pad with fire engine pull out. So if we did their entire route to get in and out of here, then that's solid concrete, and we've got the longevity of not having to patch, replace, or whatever, even that patch there.
Well, there's another way to look at it too, though. Sooner or later, that concrete's gonna have problems too, and it's a whole lot more expensive to, you got a big bunch of concrete, and then once you start trying to remodel or decide to change parking lots or something, you're a lot more flexible with asphalt. That's why you see everybody using asphalt instead of concrete. I mean, it's a cost thing up front, but then 20 years from now, we may want to tear the whole place down and start over, and, I mean, you don't know.
Right.
This gives you, you still got money in your pocket left over in case you know what to do on the redo stuff.
Let me ask another question. This was brought up the other night. When we originally spoke, we talked about trying, once you come up the road, the entrance is out there now, we talked about the possibility of having some parking where you just basically pull off to the right, all the way up the hill to have more parking. Is that still, that's something we should look at as far as in this? That way we can get, basically get our employees out that way and be out of the main line where people can use the easier parking spaces to get in, like when it's time to vote, when it's, any of our meetings, keep our, any of this out here that would be decent enough to park on and not be too costly to.
It's a shame we can't kind of incorporate some of this with the storm shelter. We'll want parking out there, and it could service a dual purpose. And maybe we could do that part while we're doing the storm shelter, put it in part of the grant. I'm supposed to pay one next week for Pleasant Grove, and it was in the grant. The paving for the storm shelter was in the grant. So, if we just wait on it, and then when we get to do that, we can add to our parking out there then or something too.
Yeah, that's your own course.
Water line, comes out, this is what we're talking about. The water line, that's the meter here, there's the valve that runs it over, I guess here, water line and the sewer, the sewer now, is actually putting a curve. I don't know how the sewer goes out, but everything like it. There's no sewer bill, they come over somewhere there. Are these ones? They deep enough, they're not 60 foot redo those, reload those. My thought is this, and I'm not talking about doing nothing exorbitant, but, something like you're talking about, trying to get some more parking area. If we just had some angle, not cut down, but build up some, just so, and the park is still nose down, so the house got some parking spaces coming up that hill, I think they would be.
That's nice. No, they're saying
Yeah, come up, whatever.
I've always thought we needed parking on this side.
Well, you got a ditch that runs down through the hill, you're just gonna be able to catch the first one economically. If you do anything else, you're gonna spend a lot of money. But if you look over that, we could get a dozen or so spaces between here and there. So right here, something, anywhere we can, don't get yourself tied up in the line. I think they come out from under it, maybe stop here. So, that big a deal. Feel that, and you could pave it, or whatever you want it done. All it would take is the thing to pull up to the parking. Whatever it's gonna do. I know we're in our meeting time, but anything else y'all got, with him, anything, we need to, because I know he needs some.
This is gonna be asphalted as per for parking, so where are we gonna, how far are we gonna asphalt?
I would imagine he's talking about something, if you're gonna use this, it would probably start somewhere right here. And it would all look the same. The driveway would come up into the front of the building.
We're gonna need to allocate, Mr. Jackson, I know they get the gas line and repair it here, shallow one. There will need to be an allocated allowance and cost estimates for utility location. So y'all will know and be aware of why that's.
So we don't know where anything is. Because it's all done.
Bill, you was still there, do you have to remember?
I have a whole lot to do with that, if you remember.
I don't remember, wasn't here then, so I don't know.
You was here. You wasn't here.
No, I didn't have anything to do with this big one.
Well, guess what? I didn't do that.
But I didn't know, I was just,
First 30 days.
I was just asking, I knew you was on the council, and I thought maybe that you might know where they exactly it came out.
They didn't put me in a whole lot of stuff after a little bit.
I just remember when we were trying to locate the water lines to put water up to the restrooms in the pavilion, that it wasn't real deep. I found them myself, so it wasn't.
The water lines are always connected over here. That way.
It's gonna fall over somewhere.
Have an 18-foot base.
Just money is money.
Roughly half inch, you're gonna be right, about right there with the mark. So that'll be the wheel stop.
They should do it all in for the players.
Something like that. So we need to get patches, asphalt, patches, tank, get it done. I would recommend get it deep enough that 36 inches, 40, or whatever.
Probably just apply it, come all the way up, just like that line back to the cedar be done.
And that way they'd be out of the way and you wouldn't.
Otherwise, it's full of it. It goes in the back. And then it's really got it.
Over it down, like, first, once after we get the job. That makes sense.
Angle park is here. It looks pretty good. Oh, that's drawing. That's the tank, the man says, anybody recommend putting one for the wall here? Comments from them, was go ahead and take earth out here, try to maybe add some hardness places in the generator, location here, and have the conduit coming over. This material has filled in this area, try to get some angle parking on both sides of the drive running through here. Also, when you bring this elevation up, there's not that material here to do that. This is actually three-phase line, continues on up to the pole, guide off, very strong in here, there needs to be some power on it to get that material. But it's not that you can't be doing it, it's just what the power company's cost is that whole thing that runs with excavator around, or will it need to be like, it needs to be replaced, $2,000, replacement cost just for that material.
I know there's underground utilities that go from this post to the building. We did that since I've been here, and they are 3 foot deep, if not more. Well, they're deep.
No, it's
Probably 48 to the bottom.
I know they're very deep.
But there is underground from that hole.
To the pavilion.
That's no way.
Well, but you were saying pull material from this side to the pole, and not from this side to the,
Yeah, what I was told was take.
oh, that whole circle there.
Everything along,
Okay, yeah,
going back in as far as we can go,
yeah.
and bring it back around and take this material out and level it
That's not
up.
gonna create a cliff here? I mean, now we're creating problems here.
That's what we talked about today. That's just, I wanted to find out, like you said, underground power, that's key, because that's gonna be very costly.
If I were in that ditch, it'd probably come up, I'd be planted down. It was deep. Jim Link would know, he was there that whole day that we did that. His son, Corky, let us use his machine. Jim's son is the one that operated the machine.
Back to what you were just saying, you're gonna leave
Big old-
like a pit.
Yeah.
Just right there beside you, walking.
Yeah, we can't,
That's whatever's wrong with it.
we don't want to create more problems doing this than figuring out how much dirt we're gonna need there. Or if you don't, I know when Target used to dig and they had dirt they had to move, you could pay to have it moved. Are they still doing anything like, anybody doing anything like that?
We
Like
just
if
did a
they're
new
just
entrance
digging
from
down the
Target.
mountain?
You talking about Target store?
Yeah, I mean, this was years ago, a friend of mine had a bunch of dirt brought in, and they just paid to have it hauled, because Target needed to move it out of the way when they were building that Vesper store.
Well, that,
So,
She's
is
talking
there
about
any
filling
chance
in
of
the
just getting
front.
filled dirt, free
Uh,
filled dirt?
let me tell you what's
For the
wrong with
hauling?
the front door here now, is we got free material in there. You want engineered fill when it goes in there. This back here will be, this will be our cheapest alternative. We can haul it from there cheaper than we can haul it from somebody else's building
Sure,
site.
sure,
I mean, even if they're loading it for free.
but are we not creating a problem if we put down that hill over there? Because then we're gonna have, like, Paul,
Well,
we're gonna have police
we're
back there.
talking about from the end of the retaining wall, where all the panels that we're also fond of, where they're at, going back in there and adding parking space there, we'll be gaining on those things. We could have some, even if we don't make parking out of it, make it future parking, or, because we're getting into big money. I mean, whatever we do here is gonna be
It's
big
gonna be
money.
big money because it wasn't done right to begin with.
Well, we know that, we've done
So,
discussed
I
that,
mean,
but
I mean,